Greetings, ladies and metal-gents, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called The Once Saved Saviours, written by Real Nectarine 7986. They came from the unknown, our once saved saviours. Esconzi Royal Collegium Presentation, Lecture, 2nd Class Plymouth, Lesson Log 36A BHHB-56641. In case you forgot, or didn't know this, for some unthinkable reason, the term Deathworlder refers to a civilization or people originating from a planet that is hostile and, or more likely the case, a dying planet. So, now you know this. Please, for the love of every star in the galaxy, stop asking me what a Deathworlder is. If you're still curious, refer to the comprehensive lecture log 35B-PPT-7567. Picking up where we left off on Deathworlders. Yes, you were supposed to review the material. You've likely come across these names. Right. The Askasarai, the Gruzchik, the Kakao, the Ilwai, and the Zling, to name a few of the more prominent ones. All of these names, and more, are those of the once prosperous Deathworld civilizations, each from a single Class 8 or above inhabitable planet in their respective solar system. But amongst all the Deathworlders known to the galactic community, one stands out above the rest. The only Deathworlder species not to appear on that list you were to review, because we, the Askanzi, helped them in their greatest time of need. Because we helped the humans in secret and failed them. Let me explain. 50 standard galactic units of Millennium Time, GMT, equivalent to 200 Iskanzi years if you don't know the conversion, or 300 human years for all of you humanomaniacs undoubtedly listening in on this presentation. That's how long ago we helped them. Out of all the Deathworlders, humans are one of the only 3 Deathworlder civilizations to leave the gravity well of their planet in mass. But as you'll learn later, they are no longer around, despite our help. You see, galactic law of first contact forbids us from initiating first contact with a pre-space capable civilization, or, more specifically, those who had yet to leave their home system, lest their evolution and unique culture be irrevocably affected by our intervention. Humanity was different, and our intervention was walking a line so thin that we only informed the Galactic Council on a need-to-know basis. You see, humanity's homeworld was dying. We have recently, after decades of computer simulations and what little information we garnered from the humans in that short time, determined that due to an ancient battle fought during the Wars of Union some 3,000 GMT past, an ancient Harbinger-class dreadnought weighing approximately 50 megatons by human standards was critically damaged, with all hands lost and sent veering adrift, disappearing into the unknown. This dreadnought drifted aimlessly for nearly all that time, until it entered the system now simply known as Sol, the humans' home system, and right for a collision course with Earth's Atlantic Ocean. Granted, the crash itself did not immediately cause a global catastrophe, other than causing a massive tsunami that wiped out several major coastal cities and towns. But it did alter its orbit slightly closer to their sun's gravity well, causing the planet to start spiraling ever closer to the star. It took humanity 2 of their years to realize this, and another 10 years to reverse engineer enough of the dreadnought to construct vessels capable of leaving their planet into space. 5 years later, they built the first Ark-class live ships, each capable of holding approximately 300,000 people, including facilities to support such a population. Sadly, only 7 of those Ark ships had been built by the time Earth was scorched bare by the increased heat from the star's proximity and eventual absorption into the star itself. By the time our explorer flotilla came across the Sol system, only 5 Arks remained functional, and less than 1.5 million humans remained. This is where the galactic law became tricky. While they had left their planet, humanity had yet to develop FTL or basic shielding, both essential for spacefaring civilizations. In addition, we taught them how to use the inter-system mass reduction. You know what? What the humans called it has become an official designation in our database recently, and they just refer to them as mass relays. In case any of you forgot, the mass relays enable near instantaneous travel between star systems by opening wormholes between two aligned relays. Yes, nobody has been able to recreate them. No, we don't know which of the ancient civilizations created them. And no, you cannot go and yeet a stick of explosives at the relays for shits and giggles. Why do I even need to say this? Getting back to the subject at hand, we Askanzi followed our hearts. That exploration flotilla initiated first contact procedures, provided humanity with the schematics for the minimum spec FTL drives and shields, while more of our fleets were secretly sent to help repair their damaged shipyards and ships in the hopes of saving as many of them as possible. Unfortunately, our people had to leave after a single GMT due to inquiries by the GC as to why one of our flotillas was spending an above-normal length of time in a single system that had no habitable planets in it. We apologized to the humans, explaining the situation to them. They were surprisingly understanding with us, thanking us profusely for the help, and vowing to one day return the favor with interest. To this day, I myself am not certain what they meant by that. Since then, we've only heard scant messages from the humans, indecipherable messages of dots and beeps we attributed to background static. We did send one more flotilla 10 GMT ago, but they sadly found the system dead and barren. Several enormous hulks of broken R-class lifeships and unknown shipyards floating lazily in the void between the planets. We believed that the humans had perished in their system. But enough about that. For homework, you are to read up on the L-Way. The next lecture log will revolve around the only known Deathworlder species to achieve successful space civilization and its saddening downfall. 8 GMT later, Askanzi Subspace Broadcasting Station. This is Prince Palask Askanzi of the Askanzi Civilization. I am sending this message on behalf of my sire, King Askanzi the 53rd of his name. Our planet is undergoing unexpected and unprecedented seismic and volcanic activity. Already, our people are perishing by the hundreds of thousands. To anyone hearing this, we beg for your aid. Our passenger ships are too few for evacuation. Palaska Skanzi spoke clearly, his voice tinged with desperation. Our people need help. Please. The prince ended the broadcast, then waited with bated breath for a response from the galactic community. For hours, he stood there at the console, rooted in place by the hope and desperation alone. Before he slumped his shoulders and turned away, realizing, believing that no one would help them. Palaska Skanzi flinched when a message was broadcast back, the message being automatically translated and displayed across the Askanzi homeworld. Hold on, we're coming! 4 words. 4 words blazed across every screen in the Askanzi homeworld, a lifeline from the void. Hold on, we're coming. Hope. Fragile but fierce, spread like wildfire. But one question remained in everyone's lips. Who had sent that message? No sender ID had been attached to the message, nor was the sent message in any known galactic language. The answer came that same evening, and no, it wasn't the science fleet sent by other members of the galactic community who had come to witness the death of a planet for scientific purposes. No, it was what happened after the mass relay had realigned itself to a new, unknown relay, after the last of the science fleets had arrived. It was a single strip, crudely designed with efficiency and practicality prioritized over visual appearance, no bigger than a Corvette, its design unknown to all witnessing its arrival. What came next was breathtaking, as more ships appeared by the tens, ships of all shapes and sizes, some clearly designed as freight haulers, others as blocky passenger transports, all of them rough, blocky, and primitive in design. Then tens became hundreds. The frequency of ships arriving through the relay sharply increased until thousands of ships appeared, the sheer size of the fleet blocking the view of the mass relay's Dyson Sphere power core from any and all observation satellites. Then came the shocker. A massive ship, strongly resembling a Harbinger-class dreadnought, and a fleet of smaller military vessels appeared, taking up positions near the mass relay. Pulaski Skansi shuddered at the sight of the massive behemoth. Then the messages came, broadcasted directly from the dreadnought. It requested locations on the Askansi homeworld from where an evacuation would be staged. The Askansi king, Askansi the 53rd, ordered a channel opened to the dreadnought, wanting clarification for its presence in his home system. "This is Admiral Kayoma of the Terran Evacuation Fleet." Those words echoed through the palace before the King Askansi could even ask who the newcomers were. "Centuries ago, you saved us, when we had no hope. Today, we return that favor with interest." The words echoed through the place, met first with stunned silence, then frantic whispers. Humans! Alive! It was unthinkable. And yet, here they were. Pulaski Skansi was the first to snap out of it. He began calling out locations. Each time he did, a part of the human fleet detached itself from the main fleet and flew directly for the specific locations mentioned by the prince. By the end of the week, over 6 billion Askansi people had been safely evacuated from a dying planet, bringing forth much celebration amongst the survivors and sorrow amongst the humans who hadn't managed to save the other 3 billion lives in time. By the end of the month, all living Askansi people had been brought to various Askansi colony worlds, one of which became the new capital. 2 human years later, humanity's introduction to the galaxy was as blunt as the armament on their dreadnought, a silent threat that left no room for doubt. They arrived as an enigma and a cautionary tale. Their ships crude yet functional, their presence a defiance of every prediction of their extinction. At first, humanity's arrival was met with cold stares and thinly veiled disdain. But humanity had faced extinction. They could endure cold shoulders. But the humans persevered. They adapted. The ships, now no longer hiding in some unknown corner of the galaxy, now traveled all throughout the galactic community. They brought with them music that moved alien hearts, food that challenged palates, and stories of survival that inspired generations to come. They served as cheap passenger transports, merchants, and occasional armed escorts for those in need. Before people knew it, cultures began intermingling. The galaxy experienced an unprecedented tourism boom as people could now afford to travel to other planets. And that ancient-looking dreadnought they had? Nobody but the Newmans knew where it went. For apart of the occasional frigate and frequent corvettes, no military ship ever left human space since that time. Humans, once kept at arm's distance, were now kept at hand's distance. But in time, they too would find their place amongst the stars. The only Deathworlders to stand the test of time, rising from the ashes of their world to save another, the once saved saviors of the Askansi people. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Bushmaster 177, Henry the Red, Caspar Arnholtz, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Elijah Silvercross, Dragoon WRE, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.